two, three. Economy of
Economy of
Nothing!
Nothing podcast.
Welcome to the Economy of Nothing podcast.
I'm your host, Mike Bedone, and that's your host. Oh, we're not. Sorry. You can go.
Hey,
I think you should be the intro guy.
Oh my God. Hey everyone.
Sorry, am I ruining your intro? Let me stop ruining your intro. I was just trying to say that I think you should be the intro.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Economy of Nothing podcast, where we're talking about a show that we are building in real time on the air. But also, we've already been on for 25 seasons, so if you're now just getting caught up, what the fuck have you been doing, you idiot? Get over here and listen to us. Last time we talked about Cheyenne. Probably talked about Cheyenne way too much last two episodes. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around. We're gonna have a better episode today. Mike Bedone, kick it off, baby. What are the topics?
Well, the
I
first
feel
thing
very
I just wanted
attacked.
to do is say I loved the energy. One producer note. This is just a producer note. I want to be clear. This is not a host note. I'm not trying to be a jokester here. This is a producer note. I think you should introduce each of us, and then we say a little thing so that the people identify voices. It's just a podcast thing. It's just kind of how stuff's done. Not all systems are good, but some are just efficient. You know
what you sound like? You sound like the fucking you know how like Ryan's super good into literature and all that bullshit and figuring out what protagonists are? You sound like that, but of
Literature is
podcasts.
bullshit.
So shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. All right, yeah. So anyway, Mike Bedone, he is the captain, and Ryan, don't remember your last name. We should probably figure that out at some point.
We don't need one.
Yeah, but
I'm the one that
AKA
reads.
Cheyenne.
I'm the literate one of the
Yes.
group, everyone.
And anyways, Mike Allen, aka referred to as Business Mike, aka referred to as Mr. Green in the show. I think by now we can say it's probably everybody's favorite character, but you know, I'm biased, so I don't know.
Okay,
I think your character has a lot of depth, and I'm looking forward to getting into that.
Ryan, I'd love to hear more about you right now, mostly about your last name, but also a little old business from last week's show, which is I think Cheyenne needs a last name, or she needs to be named like Cheyenne, like a share type thing. Just for my naming conventions of the website, we got to lock it down. Old business to close.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure her last name is like not known.
Gonna be
to
like
anyone.
Cheyenne
Okay.
Nutter Cruncher or something.
So are we cool with
It could be something extremely embarrassing that like one of the kids finds or tries to snoop. That seems like that could be an episode.
What does she go by?
Yeah, the nephews, whatever. Like one of the nephews is just like at HQ and it's like, I'm gonna find Cheyenne's name.
I guess this would
That's
be
fun.
what does she like to go by, right? Like the captain goes by Captain Tracy technically. People call him other things, but he's like, and his page is economyofnothing.com/Codex/Captain-Tracy, right? And it's Mr. Green for Mr. Green. What's like Cheyenne? Like, is it just Cheyenne? Is that cool? I guess it's the old business.
I think she goes by that bitch.
Like who? What is the captain? Well, I was gonna say,
No,
what does the captain call her? But the captain absolutely calls her that.
No, as I'm put under this pressure, we should not stay on Cheyenne. But I do think that she's kind of like trying to give off that like friendly boss or like nice professor that like it's like
could she be Miss
like
Cheyenne
is failing you. A professor's
like
failing the yeah, like the professor's failing the shit out of you in class. But then you go in and you're like, hi, Dr. McConaughey. Can I talk to you about my like? Please call me Cheyenne. And it's like it's just like fucking you over, kind of in like a bureaucratic way, but like wants to be familial with you and friendly. That's my take on her name right now.
Okay. All right. We'll keep it there for now.
Because like, what's Mr. Green's name?
Mr. Green. It's a professional name. He's a professional guy, right?
What about the first part?
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Maybe like
I do have an answer to this question. If you would like me to tell you the current Legends answer or whatever to his full name.
Legends answer. Yeah.
His name is Mr. Alvin Michael Green.
I love it. Let's go with that.
Yeah, so Mr. Green does have a full one, but yes, to
Yeah,
answer
no,
your question.
I was waiting for Ryan to fucking say something, but he always goes on mute. Just keep it off mute.
No, actually, I do agree because I feel like sometimes when I was listening back to old pods, just briefly, I couldn't bear to hear the whole thing. But I was like, oh, damn, there were moments where I was laughing or something, and it kind of does break up the like conversational tone when I'm just mute and I'm like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, I
Go
know,
ahead, Ryan.
dude. Like sometimes you're like really good with it, and other times you're like, not. You're not.
Well, no, but right there, I just said fine.
Yeah.
I think that like she can have a last name. I think she in fact does have a last name, but it's like hidden. It
I
just
just
doesn't
think
matter.
her last name should be like, okay, Cheyenne is very like sexy first name. I think we can all agree to that, right?
Okay, can I have one? Can I
Absolutely.
have one like narrow down on this conversation? It's just
No, because you
what
totally interrupted me.
I just want to know what she wants to be called. Like what it like. Do you know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
helping Ryan figure that out. I'm his
okay,
inner spiritual Meryl
this
Streep right
is
now.
in the
Okay,
Zen
so
moment. I
Ryan, I
follow.
think we
Hmm.
can all agree
Yeah,
It's
that
this
let's
recording
talk
light.
about
It's
it.
getting to me.
Hmm.
Cheyenne's first name has that like
Hmm.
sexy, mysterious side to her. But in
It's
order
as
to be a
hot as she
Meryl
is.
Streep on the
Hmm. Hmm.
backside, throwing down reverse cowgirl style with a mean mug
Hmm.
face, it's got to be a bitch sounding thing. So I mean, I'm not saying her name is bitch.
Mm.
I'm saying that it's got to like be stern, So it's like
Oh, okay, okay.
Cheyenne, and then something like you know hit you with a sack of
Hmm.
bricks type of name.
Yeah, something like punchy. See, I thought you
Yeah.
were gonna ask for it to be like really jokey, like Cheyenne
See,
Rumpelstiltskin.
no, that's terrible. But you're supposed to be taken serious. Like, and you're supposed to be like,
No, I agree.
yeah.
Well, but then I'm curious, like, is that why she doesn't even go by her last name? Because it's like embarrassing. But I do appreciate that it could be something kind of like punchy
Here's
and
one thing I'll say
badass.
character wise, I feel for the captain is that if her last name was something embarrassing, he would absolutely be like, no, it's within the rules for me to call you Captain Buttface. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he would call her Captain Buttface every chance
But
he
he would
got.
never know. But he would never know. I think that like she has it so that like no one actually knows her name. It's like classified
Yeah, so she has
info.
to. It has to be like celebrity, like like because the leaderboard has to have something to do with celebrity and stuff, right? So like she's like an influencer. She's like
I got it. I got
Cheyenne,
it. I
like
got it. I get it. I got it. I got it. Okay, it's a secret last name. No one, if someone finds it out. Buttface is pretty funny, but
well,
it
she's an
can't be
orphan, so she
Buttface.
doesn't
So
have
we're
to
gonna
have
say
a
it's
last name.
Bitterface, Cheyenne Bitterface. But you're like that kind of sounds like Buttface, and then that's how you call her Buttface.
Okay. I mean, the captain
Yeah.
doesn't have to
It's
call
like
her. She doesn't have. He'd have to call her Buttface. Like, but if
Oh, she
someone was
does.
named Buttface, you'd have to go.
Listen,
Hey, sorry, what, Lieutenant Buttface? Please get over here. Like,
listen, I have a I'm 100% on board for Buttface, like but Bitterface, but
I'm
also
against
sounds like
it. To be
Buttface.
uh-huh.
honest.
I'm
I
just
think it could
saying.
be like butt face, but spelled weirdly, like
No, no,
German,
it's
So
and
that's
it's
what I'm
spelled
like
Bitterface,
saying.
but it sounds like Buttface. Like you say it
yeah,
really fast.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
when you write it, it's like not how it sounds or something.
And I
Or
think
people
over time the captain just eventually starts calling her Buttface. Like just like it goes from Bitterface to Buttface.
well, but not at the beginning.
Not at the beginning, over time.
Her name has to be revealed. I think that
Ryan's
that's
like, I don't
perfectly
like this
suitable.
character anymore.
I'm
Get
over her.
Buttface her
She's
last
dead to
name.
me.
None of this
She and
obviously
every
has to be true.
Matryoshka.
Okay, all right. Have we fleshed this out enough, or we got to keep going?
Oh yeah, no, I just
I'm
that's really the only question I
proceed.
had was like I was when I felt like we did a lot of good visualization and the one question I had, the old business I had from last week was like, what does the captain say? He just says Cheyenne is the answer to my question, I think.
Okay,
I
moving
Yeah.
agree.
on. Open to new business. Say aye.
I
I
Aye. Okay. The motion carries. Mike, what's new business?
well, new business is a little old business from episode 2. I thought we could go back to the episode guide. How does everyone feel about that?
great.
Fun. Sounds like pulling my teeth, but yeah.
I know. Well, listen, I feel like we have to have like the common language of the show, right? So that we're
I
not
agree. I agree.
speaking
There
in
has to be.
theoreticals. We're like saying like
Mikey,
things that
where could
happen
they
to
find
them.
this? Where could they find this Codex page?
Well, people
Help
could
us out.
obviously just go to economyofnothing.com and you could find everything you need. You could find links to the YouTube, the Patreon. That's about it. But you could find those links there. Well, I guess all of the podcast platforms. But you're listening to this podcast, so you found it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you might not have found the website.
Mike, I have to be honest, I don't know if it's me as well, but you are a little peaky. And I'm just noticing because your bar goes red when you talk.
Yeah, it goes in and out to real high or something.
You think I'm
I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, it's probably this silly thing I'm running. How's it going right now?
Now
That was
it just peaked
better.
right there when you did it.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm trying to find the peak, so I'm trying to kind of go as high as I want to go, and then yeah.
Right
That
there's
just
perfect.
there was a little too much. Oh, okay. Sure, great. That's
Ryan.
perfect.
Ryan.
All right, don't worry.
That was
I think I
perfect,
got
Ryan.
it handled now. All right.
No, that's too low.
Ryan.
Okay. Okay.
Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan.
I'll go on mute.
Okay.
Ryan.
I think it'll be okay. I'll let me know.
Okay,
Let me
cool.
know about it. I know I'm probably a
Okay.
little loud, but it's gonna sound so post processed
Oh,
right
I
now
love
anyway.
the
But it's fine.
updated featured character Captain Tracy now. It's great.
Okay, so if you're following along at home and I haven't blown out your ears with my microphone volume, let's go to economyofnothing.com/shows.
Great.
You don't have to, but yeah. So if we want to go there, we started on the episode guide last time, right? And we've talked a little bit about Brenner 7 and the first one about Brenner 7. But I just think that like by going through a few of these, or going through all of them, just like together, like we can go through them as long as we want or as short as we want. But like the important thing is we have to like move on or go back. We can't like hang out there too long, right?
Yeah, okay. I'm
Is
putting
it
a fucking 20-minute timer on the next episode. So Ryan, when I put you in a hard stop, it means hard stop.
Damn. Okay.
Okay. I don't know that I like it. This, you know what, Mike? Thank you for your service, and I like where this attitude comes from. All right. So,
Listen, I
Ryan,
don't mean to
you
be.
hippie.
No, it's just
Uh,
we got to keep the thing moving so that we can get on to everything you want to hit.
no. I like the idea of moving it on, right? All right. So
Yeah.
I also have I'm just gonna no one at home will be able to see this, but I also want to show you guys. I'm also going to be referencing this document, which is an actually it's not this one. I'm going to slowly look for the other document as we go along, I guess, that has more of like stuff that Ryan had asked me about the different growth and things going on throughout the guide. And now I just don't have it open. So, Mike, maybe you could start reading through the episode guide for a second while I find this other thing for just 1 second. Is that
Okay.
cool? I didn't
Yeah,
mean for
right.
this
I'll
to
read
happen.
the
I really
episode
thought
guide.
the other one was open.
Yeah, just don't talk, and then me and Ryan could give our thoughts on the episode from just what it is.
That sounds great.
Okay. Anyways, so the Dragon Egg Heist is episode number 2. On the label, if you're looking at the Codex, you would see that it's Mr. Green, what looks to be running away from a dragon that looks like is about to attack him. And the description for it is on the medieval planet Dracaran. Fuck, man, what is this name? Draconaria. Yeah, okay.
Draconaria? I don't know.
Draconaria. Tracy's crew is hired to retrieve a stolen dragon egg. As they navigate court intrigue and rebel factions, they realize they're in over their heads, and not everything is as it seems. So, Ryan, what do you take away from this thumbnail here and the description?
And what you might know, you know.
I take away that Mr. Green is using a gun.
Yeah, me too.
What's that about?
What's that about? I mean,
The
I
captain
can
doesn't
step in.
use guns. Does Mr. Green use guns and the
Oh my
captain
god,
doesn't?
we haven't
That's kind of
fleshed out Mr.
badass.
Green
Oh, Mr.
or the
Green
captain, which was the original
Wait,
plan.
who is the protagonist of this story? This
Oh,
doesn't make sense. Anymore.
Oh no, Ryan's taking over the show again. All right. Yeah. No,
Honestly,
again,
I also have solved that problem for the record. So,
I think
but
if we
that's
just, dude, as much as you
later.
want to go through this Codex page, I do too, Mike. I
Wait.
think it would just be better if I just put hard stops on 20 minutes on fleshing out the captain, and then maybe 20 minutes fleshing out Green, and then 20 minutes on Codex, and then next episode could be all Codex.
Okay, you take the reins, buddy. I'll do whatever you say.
All right. So, okay, we know Cheyenne. I don't want to hear anything about Cheyenne's character or backstory in this episode. I want to hear about Captain Tracy for the next 20 minutes. All
Okay,
right.
you know what? This is great because I feel like what I was trying to do
Mm.
was jump ahead of something that you guys wanted to do, and I'm glad that we're going back.
Yeah. So,
I do think we should do Mr. Green first for the reasons of
okay. All right.
a
All right.
lot of the
We'll
Captain
do.
Tracy answers are in the episodes. But
Okay. I'll do Mr. Green. All right.
we can go to economyofnothing.com/codex/aliens, unfortunately, Mr. Green.
Oh.
We think he's an alien, obviously, at this point. Something we
Yeah.
all can agree on. We think he's probably an alien, maybe.
I think he's probably an alien.
If he's
Probably
not a secret
Totally.
robot, which he
He's
isn't,
the coolest
most
fucking.
likely.
All right. So, Mr. Green, summary. Age unknown. Role. He's the pilot and the idea guy of the moonshine. Idea guy.
Do you like that?
So
I just put that in
yeah.
here.
So I think idea guy in this sense means that like not so much in a like he's like can fix it. He's more just like he's thinking outside of the box to get the job done quick enough so that he can get home for dinner. Because that's his main motivation.
Mm.
Because the captain is constantly bringing him on missions that he thinks are too long and could be done more efficiently in a different way, or jobs done in a different way that could climb the ranks of the scoreboard so that we could get to the top of the North Nothing Corporation, right?
I have a
agree
question
with
about
that.
that.
If you like it, you know what I mean. Like that's well,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Go
I have a
ahead,
question
Ryan.
about that, but because I'm curious, what was Mr. Green doing? I was chatting with my friend Katie earlier about this whole project and the pod and the matter of protagonists and stuff.
Right.
Anyway, but what I told her when I was describing Mr. Green was I was like, "Oh, Mr. Green was already working at the corporation and he was doing jobs."
Mhm.
And then he said, "Oh, like Captain Tracy, why don't you tag along?" I mean, they're old friends, blah, blah, blah. But like once he came out of retirement again, he was like, "Oh, you tag along with me and I can charge double if I have the former savior of the universe on the bill." On like
I
on
mean,
the
I do like
accounting.
that take on it, and I'll be open to it.
Yeah. Well, because I was just thinking then that kind of like contextualizes like their relationship a little bit. Like then Mr. Green has been like at it and that's part of his like
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's how it would
like
work too,
frustration.
right? Like it would
It
work like
seems like it would.
if I'm working at the Nothing Corporation, the captain's been retired from like I assume the robot Space Wars was a government or some sort of like universe national government agency type thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like he can just walk in the Nothing Corp like he owns the fucking place. So it's like nah, he
Mm-hmm.
needed to end, and I was just like, yo, this is my boy. I got him good pay, but you're a cocky son of a bitch. But either way, I'm getting more money because, and then
Mm-hmm.
you bring your nephews on, so I
Yeah.
can like, and I know firsthand they do this in the real world. Is like they'll get if it's a contract for a company, they'll give you like let's say $150 an hour per person,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just pay Mike like $100 an hour and pocket 50, and then his
Yeah.
nephews since they're younger, I'd do like maybe like 50, 70 to 5 an hour, and then pocket the rest. Yeah, so it's like
Yeah, because it's
it's a
like
favor to
billable
him, but also
hours.
like I got a benefit, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like in the rankings or whatever system there is of how like performance evaluation, I feel like there would be like bonuses, like in a video game or whatever. And like one of the bonuses is just like you get an extra star to have like Captain Tracy because he's the savior of the world or whatever. Anyway,
I
so
like.
yeah, that was just a thought I had that I
Yeah.
wanted to clarify.
Well, I think
Yeah.
if I can
Yeah.
jump in real quick, I think that this is like a really key point to like drill in on is the exact agreement between the captain and Mr. Green, right? It's fun. It's
Mm-hmm.
fundamental to the start of the show. Is exactly like so like for example, I have had the idea that the captain retired because for a multitude of reasons and for other reasons, partially his family, partially like geopolitical stuff. He kept working. So they cut when the captain has to come out of
Mm-hmm.
retirement. Mr. Green's already working for the Nothing Corporation. He's already has another crew, or he's on it. Something's going on there. A thing we should flesh out now. And the captain's like, we should work together. Now, is that Green pulling one over on the captain? Is that the captain encouraging Green? I think by the start of episode one, because of the events that happened right beforehand, it's now the captain saying, I'm calling the shots this next cycle. But I like the idea that there's more going on here, and I think this is an important point. And Mike Allen wants to go, and he should.
All right. So, loved everything you said there, Mike. I think one of the things is you said you're coming out of retirement, and Green's like, hey, there's something going on here. I think my crew that I'm with got deep space scurvy and they died. And so I got to bring you on. And the whole time, I think it's going to be a running joke throughout the show that you're going to be like, deep space scurvy isn't real. And I'm like, I'm telling you, you got my last crew, dude. Like, what do you, they're not here, you know? And like, I don't know, but I just think that that joke could run to the end of time on the show. And then, like, whenever we want to play that card, like, what deep space scurvy is, it'd be funny.
Well, I like.
Yeah. I like the idea that like deep space scurvy is just like the name of like a roaming musical troupe or something that like capture that like
Yeah, it's like
won over your
Stomp. Yeah,
crew.
they join Stomp.
Yeah,
Just
literally, it's like the Blue Men Group or Stomp, and then you're like, they got like, but you like refuse to talk about it. You're like, I will not discuss this any further because it was like a betrayal to you. But
yeah,
then
and they
it
broke
turns
their
out that
contract,
like
so I won't hire them anymore.
yeah, they're just like a group of people, deep space scurvy, which is like everyone would think it was like an illness. That seems
Or it's
fun
like
to
the
me.
Jersey Boys, but you know, like they're just traveling around the universe
Yeah.
singing.
Well, but I mean, part of Mr. Green's thing too is that he has this like constructed false narrative of himself, right? That our viewers are familiar with. But like his personal history was rewritten at the end of the war.
Oh yes, yeah, I
Should
forgot
we
about
cut this out of the pod?
Well, we could,
that.
well, right before we do, we were just on something right there, and I just had like a thing to say, and then we talked about the war, and
Deep space scurvy.
yeah. Oh, I think Deep Space Scurvy should be like this like galaxy wide folklore that like
Yeah,
everyone has like a different thing, like it's nothing, right? When stuff happens in space and people can't explain it, they're like, oh, deep space scurvy. But like,
yeah,
so Mr. Green's technically like right a lot of the time, but it's like, yeah, that's what they, but it's not a thing still, just because people keep calling stuff it, like, do you know
yeah, yeah. I mean, I get it's almost like deep space scurvy is like the universe is like Flying Dutchman, you know, like it's like everywhere, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also not real, but it could be real, you know. And I do think we could play
There's a
that.
war on deep space scurvy everywhere, and everyone's fighting in a different way, and it's just like not.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But we keep
like we
losing
could land
crews
on a planet
somehow.
where
I don't know.
like we could land on a planet where like zombies happen or something, and we're like, oh my god, they got deep space scurvy, and you're like, just because there's zombies here doesn't mean they have deep space scurvy.
Yeah, right. Like anytime, well, if you think about it, going back to the
Uh,
skull, anytime like something happens to people, right? It's like deep space skirt. Like, you know, they go crazy because they get trapped on a planet, or there's zombies there, or there's this, or you know what I mean? Like, it's like
Yeah,
they used to be people, and then crazy thing that it was scurvy or whatever. I like that.
mm-hmm. Well, but that's the thing is that with Mr. Green's motivations, I guess when you mentioned that his main motivation is to get home for dinner because he has a wife and kid or kids.
uh-huh.
So is like is there another grander motivation at play, or is he like a cog in a machine? Like, does he
Yeah,
have any relationship to the
yeah.
machine? You know
Let
what I
me break
mean?
it down for you, Ryan. So
Yeah, yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Green is just straight up me. Like, there's no like,
There's
Great.
there
nothing
is some
going on there.
exaggeration to it because I'm obviously not a robot or an alien, but either.
That's
You said
what
you
robots and
were
aliens would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, right. I know. Yeah, I know. But I think the thing is that I have a family. I have two kids, and you just said it's like you're a cog in a machine. And if anybody's listening out there that doesn't have children yet, let me explain to you that it is exactly that. What Ryan is saying is true. You are a cog in a machine that never stops. And not only and here's Mr. Green's motivation because it'll just tell you my daily struggle. Here's my daily struggle. I have to wake up, get the kids ready for daycare. Then I have to um, go to work. I have to actually get work done because if I don't, it'll pile up and then I have to do it at home. But if I do it at home, I'm a bad dad. Also, if I don't get home good enough, I don't have enough time to hang out with the kids, hang out with the wife, eat dinner with them, and then also do bath time, and then also like read them a book, make them feel like, happy before they go to sleep. And then I have to get my workouts in. Or if I didn't get all my work done, I got to do work. And then I got to go to sleep. And then I got to wake up. And I got to do it the next day. And then, just when you think it all fucking is coming to an end, you get a fucking break. No, it's the weekend. And the weekends are never just sit around and do anything because you don't want the kids at home that destroy your house. So you have to go and do things and spend a lot of money, which racks up. And then you're really tired, and then you find yourself even living more crazy because now you're not even living for the weekend, you're living for the weekdays, because the weekdays are the days that you get fucking time to yourself. And the sad part is that's at work.
So like then you want to pick up trinkets when you're out on adventures.
Yeah, so then I want to pick up trinkets, and I want to have a whip, and I want to have a cool Indiana Jones hat. And to you guys who want to fucking take over the world, y'all I think y'all have way too much time on your hands. Like you like you wouldn't think the way you would if you were stuck in the cog like I am.
Yeah.
So like the problems that you guys
Cogs
have
don't
and
think
little
in that they're
moralities that you have,
cogs.
I think are so fucking stupid. Like that's Mr. Green.
Yeah.
Ryan's response, have you ever read this book?
Yeah, so the first thing is that we all feel for you vicariously, if only that.
That was real raw heat and passion coming from me. Like,
Yeah, I
came out,
mean,
man.
like, should we talk about this?
And this is how everybody feels in America. Like life is about survival at a certain point. Like that's where I'm
I'm
at.
like, oh my gosh, I said you're a cog in a machine.
In the metaphor
I said you're
of the distant future.
I said the cog in a machine thing because it's just a really well-known like little turn of phrase, and then I thought you were gonna be like, "How dare you say that about me? I'm a human being. I have dreams." And then you went into this tirade.
Yeah,
you'd have to sleep to have dreams.
I also like Mr. Green. It's not like he just thinks that women in general are hot, or I don't know if my wife's a grasshopper with like 6 titties. I think grasshoppers with titties are hot. I just think things are hot. So you know,
Sure.
So
yeah.
Is your wife officially a if we go to the aliens page next to Mr. Green, there's grasshopper. So is it? We'd like this to cannot because this isn't episode 1. This answers a bunch of questions. If this is a canon answer, that Mr. Green's wife is a grasshopper lady and his kids are half grasshoppers. This is a choice we want to make.
I don't want her to be a grasshopper, but she could be an alien with 6 boobs. But she's always got to be wearing a low cut shirt with 6 boobs.
Okay. Well, but what is your wife doing?
And her nipples are kind of hard. You can like kind of see through the shirt. Like a woman just walked in with like a really thin sweater on and AC's at like 64 degrees.
Okay, great. So what is your wife doing in the show? Okay, Mike can handle the visuals.
I think that's the thing with Mr. Green. Like you don't like you'll be able to see them in backgrounds, but like that is so
it's always off screen
from Family Guy like season 19.
This is Law and Order. They're on the job, man. Dun. You know what I mean? Like
no, for sure. But that's what I mean about like the grasshopper thing. I don't know. It says like on the Codex page, it says highly trained tactical recon special. Blah blah blah. But like your wife isn't. She's
his wife was a grasshopper.
No, but like your wife is at home. Mr. Green's wife is like on their home planet, right? Like taking care of the kids because of like the construct of the show, or is that not what's happening?
Yeah, I mean she's taking care of the kids, but I mean if we want to like later give her a job, or like we could literally make her my wife right now. But like the problem is you can't do it. You can't literally like because she's like way better of a person than me, and like she'll definitely take over as a character on the show of like a force for good. Honestly, Cheyenne doesn't want.
Okay, let me rephrase this question.
Only one woman. Like I like how your wife. There's a moment where like we get back to headquarters and your wife and your kids are there, and Cheyenne like pushes her out of the screen. And it's like there's only space for one woman.
Yeah. Like she's like the shot.
Yeah, like literally pushes. Yeah, like moves the camera away. We're like, oh, and welcome back to our heroes. And there's like a camera crew, and they try to go, and she's like, no. Focus on me. That is a hilarious.
Maybe later.
I do like the idea that your wife is always like a peripheral. I mean, that sounds very disrespectful to women, and that's not what I'm going for, unlike some people on this show who refuse to make nephews nieces. But I do kind of like that like tension.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of thinking that you're just like working, not and like in the like obviously Mr. Green goes home and like lives his life with his family, but in the context of the show, I feel like you're like a worker that just like sends money home.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
essentially what it is. Like, but
Yeah.
I am trying to get home for dinner. Like that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you
because I
bring
get in
home the
trouble
bacon.
by not getting home
Yeah.
in time for dinner.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure or clarify that your wife or your kids weren't like the next crew over. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, the kids and the wife will not be like doing adventures or anything.
Okay,
They
okay.
stay at home. Green's got to get home for dinner, and what that leads to from Mr. Green is that when
Mhm.
things are starting to get really like super uppity, in the sense of like there's a lot of action happening, and the captain's stupid "I don't kill people" rule is like getting on his nerves
Mhm.
because he knows that if he just put a bullet through this dude's head, that
Mhm.
um we can move on to the next thing. And I think that's his workaround. Like that's when he kills, when it's like you're fucking my day up, and I
Mm.
think that like a great example would be like there's a scene where the captain is supposed to be running down the hallway and like taking out 9 dudes, but he's not going to use fucking anything. So he's like
Mhm.
going and doing all
Mhm.
these punches, and then Green's like right behind him, just shooting him in the head, but like punch shooting, like. So like when he gets done, the captain's like, "See, I told you I could do it without things," and he's just like, "Yeah, dude, let's go." Just like toon, toon, toon.
Like
That
that.
is so
Like
fucked up that
he's
like
just
we
executing everyone.
follow yeah, like we follow a minute long hallway fight, like a daredevil, whatever, like a
Yeah,
10
that's what
minute
I'm
long
thinking.
hallway fight of the captain just beating up a whole crew of people, and then Mr. Green is just popping them all as he goes by, and they get to the end, they're like, great work.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah, and then
disturbed.
like the captain gets to feel like he's
Like
a
I
good guy.
don't.
He didn't kill anyone.
Uh
And then it's like,
that's so fucked up.
I feel like Mr. Green doesn't have a compunction about like Mr. Green wouldn't murder someone, but Mr. Green doesn't care about killing someone. Right? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Mr. Green
yeah, I
wouldn't
wouldn't do
kill
it out
someone
of
that
like
doesn't deserve it for no, but like the threshold of what deserves it in this galaxy is pretty low
Mm.
for Mr. Green considering what his job is and stuff. Like he's a
yeah, I
pilot
mean,
for the like dispatch. He doesn't need to take too much shit. Like,
I
you
think
know,
his
like
moral compass has to be on the lines of like, okay, are they hurting others? Like, definitely can justify killing them, right? Like if they're hurting anyone else,
Mhm.
right? Like, or if they're just like really ugly, you know, like if we. I don't know. That sounds bad, but I mean, like if like the Skull Pirates, right? Like, okay, if they have really deep space scurvy.
Ryan, let me say something that's going to help Ryan real quick. Explains. Remember that
Great.
he's Anakin Skywalker.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, is he basically like a Jedi? Because Jedi are like non-lethal, but they're also they be killing everybody. Like when push comes to
Like
shove.
so the
You know what I mean?
idea of the show like when the idea of the show is like they'll never let me make Star Wars and they'll steal anything I do, so let me make the dumbest thing ever is like is like why won't Disney just make a show where two Jedi go do the things Jedis are supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
Like
because
seems like
nobody
such a
knows what
good
that
idea
is.
for a show. It seems so
Yeah.
easy, right?
Want it
Like
to be Jedi Law and Order. Like that's the
yeah,
ideal,
and
like
like
Jedi
the actual
code.
height of the Republic. Like they always do. Like hey, they're like this is the height of the Republic right before it falls. So this the incompetent Jedi. This is the start of the Jedi we've seen already, right? Like. But like there's still
Well,
space cops, so they're still bad. Like it's not space cops that are monks aren't good, right? Like that's a bad idea,
Assuming
yeah.
probably.
everybody, like, I think the thing you got to realize when you're out on a mission like this, it's kill or be killed. So like that's why he would kill,
Hmm.
right?
Well, I also like the idea that like Mr. Green is coming from the war, which he is,
Yeah,
but he might not think of it like that per se. But like in a way that the savior of the universe, Captain Tracy, was able to have a break from like the lethality of the universe, Mr. Green just like went from being a soldier into being, from his point of view, like a worker in this corporation that's like maintaining peace or doing tasks or whatever it is that he's doing. So it's sort of like an ex-cop or an ex-military person just proceeding along in a trajectory of violence.
I think you just have to look at Mr. Green as like if Indiana Jones and
Mhm.
like
On Solo.
Mace Windu had a baby.
Like, what I'm
Mace
saying.
Windu is a really good point to bring up. That actually does help contextualize it because he's like the bastard on the Jedi Council that's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sorry, Ahsoka, sorry,
Barehand a bunch of
citizen.
battle droids, right? Which is very
Yeah, yeah,
useful,
yeah.
right? But
He
he
would
shouldn't be
barehand
making
battle
decisions
droids.
just because he can bare fist a bunch of battle droids. That shouldn't be
Well, but
put you
he
on the
also
top of
has
the council.
wisdom. But yeah, but like he also has wisdom. I mean, this is the
No,
thing
he
that I like
doesn't.
about what you're
He's the
saying.
dumbest. He's the one. He's the reason they lose. He's the dumbest one.
Mike, he's as sharp as he can be. I don't know what you want me to tell you. No, okay, so no, so
I'm
well,
sorry,
but
Star
I
Wars
actually
for
need to
one
bring up.
second. Anakin Skywalker comes up and goes, "No, the Emperor just told me he's the Dark Lord of the Sith." And goes, "Cool, I'm just gonna bring the two guys I was gonna bring anyway. We'll just roll up there and say, do you give up now? Because I'm such a
And
prick. Like I'm so full of my own bullshit that I'm like, yeah, well,
No,
I'm Mace Windu. Fuck
no,
it.
no, no. It
Like,
was Anakin turning. It was Anakin turning to the dark side. That is what.
literally,
why
Yeah,
didn't he
like he
bring
would have
all
won if
of the
Anakin stayed on the
Jedi? I
good
would have
side.
brought all of them. They're all. He brought three
No, but that doesn't
guys.
no,
make him dumb. That means he
No,
trusted
he's
the
dumb.
wrong person.
No, because he thought he could solo the Dark Lord
I
of the
really don't
Sith.
want to have
He
a
thought he didn't
conversation
no,
need
but
about
those other
Mike,
guys.
Star
But my
Wars
point
on
is
okay,
that's
Star
what
Wars
Mr. Green
podcast.
thinks.
okay. I'm
That's
sorry
what
to
Mr.
have to.
Green thinks.
I always, my one of my hugest personality flaws is that when Mike says dumb shit, I have to respond to it. So I will just respond to this, and then I will move on for my own mental health.
I love it. On an unrelated note,
Mace
Mike.
Windu did 1v1 that motherfucker. Mace
Yeah.
Windu beat his ass. He developed a style that redirected the power of the dark side against his enemy, and he
Who
beat that
dead?
bitch's
Mace
ass.
Windu.
And he trusted. I actually think that he like survives in like the extra canon, whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's like not canon. But anyway, but per what Mike Allen said, like Mace Windu actually does 1v1 that bitch, and he does what he is wise, but he trusts Anakin enough not to be a master on the council. But he shouldn't have trusted that bitch. He should have known that he was dark side too, and he would have 1v2'd them because Mace Windu is a bad bitch. That's just the facts
Yeah,
on the
he is
ground,
a bad
and
bitch.
we have to move
Samuel
on.
L. Jackson got his own freaking lightsaber color. Like that's the
He
only reason
invented
he
the
was
color
perfect.
purple in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Purple
I
didn't
think
exist.
Samuel L. Jackson's very cool, to be clear, right?
that
Like,
doesn't sound
Uh
like it.
huh. We can't tell.
because I don't like,
Everyone's
'cause, like,
everyone get in the comments
I
right
don't
now and
even not
roast
like
Mike.
Mace Windu.
You're
Seems
sick
like
in the
it. Seems
head.
like you're a Mace Windu
I'm
hater.
using
It seems like you
character
hate Mace
flaws. I
Windu and
think
you hate
Ryan
Mr.
loves
Green.
character flaws. He say like, where are all the character flaws? Where are the motivations? And I'm saying,
Okay.
oh, I see Mace Windu. He's a good character. I see his motivation. He's an ego-filled motherfucker that like couldn't see
Oh my
past
god. Okay,
himself.
okay, okay. We're
Right?
moving past this
Okay.
because I need to make a point about Mr. Green's character arc and foil to the main character of Captain Tracy. Because as we all know, Captain Tracy is the protagonist for reasons that are obvious and need no further explanation. No. Okay, so what I like what you said though is it seems to me, per your diatribe, I don't want to move past it too quickly about your own life and the cog in the machine thing, is that in the way that Captain Tracy doesn't want to be the captain, which I actually think is part of his own character flaw, which I will get into later, I think that it feels like there's kind of I'm just curious what y'all think about this. That, like, in the captain's ideal world, he's like, I wouldn't do this, but I have to do it because I'm the one who will, like, be the captain. And it feels like what you're saying is in those moments where, like, on the weekend with a family, you have to like perform the function of a father, and that role that you're filling is somewhat at odds with whatever internal life you may or may not have, and like your personhood is in fact defined by this role that
Yeah,
like is required of you because you
yeah,
can't escape it, because like there's the facts on the ground of like you have a child to feed,
yeah.
so you
It's
have
just
to work.
surviving, man. I'm telling you. I was gonna say something. It's like the reason Mr. Green kills is because of like, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but like
Mhm.
it comes, your caveman fucking instincts just take over, and like you literally think to yourself like nothing else matters, and I like no doubt like There's like moments when you're like, I could kill for these kids. You know, like if I had
Hmm.
to, and even though I would go to jail, like I would have to do it. Like you just feel obliged, right? And like that
Hmm.
feeling right there makes it feel like survival. I'm not saying I'm gonna go out and kill somebody. Like what I'm saying is that that
Hmm.
protective,
Hmm.
just Papa Bear feeling
Yeah.
is like in your life all the time. You feel like everything's trying to take
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, and it's reinforced, and I think that like the corp in this metaphor, the corporation like reinforces it because when you're on a planet, you're like, I have to bring home the bacon by 5 p.m. or like my kid's not eating tonight.
Yeah.
And that's why there's like a really hard. I feel like that really like makes Mr. Green. I think that's kind of like his orphanage, like secret orphanage, if you will. The
Right.
like
But let me hit a
he's
pause on that because I like what you're
yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah.
because everything's
Yeah.
true. But Mike, did you want to add something?
Well, no, that he was going great. I think if we let Brian was about to kind of maybe go wrong, it's like, and that's when we want to talk about and what are the themes and what's going on and character growth and what's the interplay and stuff, Ryan. And it's like,
All right, pause. Ryan, go back to you. All right. What? No, no. All right, no. I'll take over the pause. Okay. So, anyways,
no, I want to finish
no,
your
no, no,
idea.
no, no. Pause, 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 pause. No, yeah, I agree with what Ryan's saying, but the thing that also is kind of like you hit pause on it. It's like, yes, it is about like my kids aren't eating tonight, but you also got to remember that Mr. Green likes the money, so you understand his mentality, but like at a certain point, is it enough? Right? Like in Green's mind, it's never enough. So like
Well,
he's
but
trying
when
to hoard
is
it away, but you guys like you don't need to be home by 5 tonight. Like you can be late.
Right.
Like
But
that's
here's
the
the
other
thing.
side to it. You know what I mean? Because you're
When we
like,
start talking
yeah,
to bring all this back to like story and character arc and stuff like this, like this is why the Rangers are there, right? The one of the things Mr. Green needs to learn is that he is not a different being at work and a different being at home. He's Mr. Green both of those places. So like he can't like be like, "Hey kids, be the best kids you can." All right, I'll be right back. Murder, murder, murder. Hey, kid, like
yeah,
when other kids are there that like then his friends like you know what I mean, he starts thinking a little more about like the place. I think as like
I
when
agree.
he and that's goes to like when it's first he's looking for other things, it's other things, right? It's the all the items, but then like as he's like which like moving along, it has to be like you know like a bigger like more holistic move for him, right? And of course there's already the duality of the robot alien thing going on already too, right?
I think the thing you just said is like, is that Mr. Green kills if he feels like he really needs to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
All
right.
right.
But like
well, but also like in my opinion, Mr. or in my interpretation of it so far, like Mr. Green is not led by his morality, right? Like
He's
he's
led
kind of
by his
led,
logicalness.
yeah, and like
Yeah,
by expediency. So
yeah.
I feel like he's like I think there's not a moment like Mr. Green is not like the villain or the antagonist, but I do think there could be a moment where like there's some like a prolonged debate or like situation that could emerge that could be solved really quickly and like with finality that doesn't affect Mr. Green's sense of morality because his own morality is constrained to like his family and the like the company and the economy and the money of it all. And it's like we're going to lose out a million credits, whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
If we don't like solve this lickety split. So like I'll crush the dragon egg or like I'll crush the what's the gun like it's like the name of that gun that's just sitting on the counter and then they show it the like the
Chekhov's gun.
McGovern. Oh, yeah, 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 okay. Not Chekhov's gun. I meant McGovern. McGovern? McLovin? What am I talking
A
about? Do you know what I'm
MacGuffin.
saying? MacGuffin.
MacGuffin.
Yeah, like there's the MacGuffin, and Mr. Green is like, I'm looking to solve this to be home by 5.
Yeah.
And I think that if that requires violence, because I feel like as we're kind of characterizing it, as we're creating foils to the main character that elucidate what the main character is about, we kind of need variants, and I think that Mr. Green is like a really powerful like variant
Yeah,
of a
I'm a guy
character.
that can transition you from scene to scene because of the MacGuffin.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like I didn't know that's what it was called, but there's always I think that's what he's looking for is the MacGuffin in every
Mm-hmm.
scenario. I think
Yeah,
Cheyenne's
exactly.
looking for, even though it said I wouldn't talk about it, I think Cheyenne's looking for like the morally right thing. And I think that
Mm.
I mean, right?
Well, no, well, like
I
what
would have
I
said
would
that
well, like I
yeah,
think
Mike.
Cheyenne, like I get my read on the way we've talked about them so far, I guess in relation to like, but other stuff or whatever, is that like Mr. Green is about the like Mr. Green's bottom line of this is the thing that needs that I guess I'm trying to like manipulate like they all are working for the company at the start, right? And the captain's doing it because he's got to work somewhere, and he can work there, and he can do it like he can do the job, and then like he's doing the job for like 6 months, and he's like, this job's so easy. We need to like help people because I don't care about getting a better version or something. So he needs to prove to Mr. Green that he can get them more money by helping people also, right?
Yeah.
And that it's
He's
like
pulling
better in
me
all
away from
ways.
the system. Like that's what that the captain is like, I get that this is the way that you were taught to do it. But I'm telling you that there's more opportunity. Like with high risk comes high reward. And I don't believe him because I don't believe in him yet. And then as time goes on, I believe in him more. And then that shifts my character arc that there is more to life than money. There is more to life than like I don't have to be some person at work and some person at home. I'm the same person, that aspect of it. And also it's kind of Mr. Green's whole thing is you're learning his code at the same time he's learning it. Like he his
Mm-hmm.
like just like in my normal life, I'm learning things about myself every day, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
influences the character moving forward. And that's where like you as characters these things are going to grow, we're going to feel like them at times, but that's what I'm saying is like
And so I
yeah.
think that and I guess the thing I'm trying to get at is that like I to me Cheyenne represents like the system like seeming to work, right? Like Cheyenne goes when the captain's first response is this, don't you see that things are wrong? And she's like, well, things can't be wrong because I'm the only thing that's wrong is that you're the best captain. I should be the best captain too, right? You know what I mean? Like she thinks that's like the only flaw in the
Mm-hmm.
system is that she's not higher up in it, right? But like it's working because she's gotten this high. Where like Mr. Green's like, no, the system is the system's bullshit and do it for yourself. Like the system is do the jobs that are going to pay the highest ROI and blah blah blah. And Cheyenne's like, do the system that's going to make the company the happiest and they'll look out for you, kind of thing. Anyway, Mike, you had something for me.
Anyone else see Ryan flick that booger?
I did not flick a booger.
All right, I'm doing the time codes. I'll look it up. There will either be an animated
This is
booger or not.
disgusting.
Well, no,
There's the
that's the
attacks
pass
that
for
these
this week.
people will make on your character. Just wait till every viewer is also a character. You're disgusting.
All right, I'm gonna move
No.
on to the biography because I think
Okay,
we
okay.
literally took the horse and beat it to death.
Wow. All right.
Of Mr. Green, I think that it makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad to know
No,
about
no,
these
I know.
things.
I'm saying that last concept. I think
Well,
we were all like talking Spanish to
Yeah,
each
we
other,
should
and we were
probably
all saying
move
the
to
same
like
thing, but it just wasn't
another bullet
clear.
point, right? I don't think we've gotten very far.
okay,
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
Move to your
Biography.
bullet.
I'm just gonna go into biography. Mr. Green
Okay.
flies the ship, runs the numbers, and occasionally reminds everyone that feelings aren't a business model, which is the antithesis of what we just talked about.
Yeah, well, yeah, like well, this is the thing we talked about before, right? Of like, when is this written, right?
Yeah,
Because like that's his feeling at the start, right? Like the captain's convinced him, right? But like he's gonna go
yeah,
help the people because he's not a son of a bitch and he's not like the worst guy in the world. And like since people are and he's seen the profit in it now from the last cycle where they were able to move up and all this kind of stuff, right? But like
right.
he's still being like, "Where's the cap? You like what you did say was we could do the right thing and make more money, right?"
Yeah, yeah, it's gotta go both ways. Juice also still has to be worth the squeeze. Like he will definitely be like, "No, I'm out. That's dumb."
Right.
But
And at some point he gets on the other
but
side of the captain, right? And that's like the fun of the dynamic. But like,
yeah, yeah, and so He's been with Captain Tracy since the war, literally. The most famous statue from that conflict shows Tracy dragging Green to safety mid explosion. Green doesn't talk about it, but he's been flying with Tracy ever since. I
That's
love
what I'm
it because I
saying.
didn't know that was in there, and that's hilarious to me. And I'm like, Green
It could
doesn't
be of
talk about it.
anything,
Yeah, I guess
but
I don't.
in my mind, that's how they're famous, right? They're like Iwo
Yeah,
Jima guys or something, but like Tracy's like the guy that's holding the other, and like so Green's like the guy that's getting dragged,
I'm okay with that. I've been made a statue, bro.
right? But like that feels like the dynamic, or like I guess you laughed so you liked it, but
I like it.
and then of course, but like some of that's not quite true, as we've talked about. They haven't been together the whole time, right? Some of this is out of date from what we'd said, but
I mean, you could
clearly
literally put anything for Mr. Green's bio because,
that's what I'm
like,
saying. For our
yeah,
purposes
no
right
doubt.
now, I don't care about the bio unless there's stuff
Yeah,
like that you like in it, right?
yeah, I like that. He wasn't assigned to the moonshine. He chose it, or maybe he's just keeping an eye on the one person who saved his life and hasn't stopped trying to save everything else since. We could just scrap that whole paragraph.
So that's what we were just talking about, right? That's not his like we were just talking about that moment where like Mr. Green and him are coming to an arrangement where
Yeah,
they like are trying. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what we were just talking about, right? We
He
needed better
claims
stuff.
not many
Yeah.
money, but also never flown to a danger for free. I love that.
Right. The
That's great.
characterizations there, it's like, but like the events are what we're trying to like.
Yeah. Key moments. All right. The key moments for Mr. Green are rescued by Tracy during the war. Yeah, I guess that is a key moment. They made a statue out of it. Um, Bankrolled Cheyenne's orphanage initiative.
That's
Yes.
based on something you guys said last week. You were like, maybe this
Yeah.
happened.
That's
And I was
kind
like,
of
I don't
G.
know what this is, but it led to the idea that in this universe there are for-profit orphanages, which I think is fucking terrible. So it's in there.
Mm.
Oh, I love this. Survive the gladiator pits of New Rome, which I know is a thumbnail on a future episode. And
Yeah.
I know we haven't fleshed that out, but it sounds fun.
And I think
So
like one of those things based on the stuff we're talking about, I'm like, okay, I think Mr. Green should probably learn something here about like killing. You can't just kill because someone told you to kill somebody. That feels that
yeah,
a gladiator pit feels like a good place to learn that lesson.
I feel like Mr. Green in each episode is
He's
either
good.
helping or you guys are like using me as a distraction. It's what I see happening a lot of times. Like I could see
Mm-hmm.
myself in a coliseum here, and then you guys doing some like spy shit while I'm like, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to
Fighting for
kill
your
this
But
emperor
life.
of this planet,
functionally
or like poison
useful,
him or
like
something.
when he wants to. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he is like he's like, what if like a giant killer alien robot man was Stanley Hudson? Do you know what I mean? Like he's a good
yeah,
salesman. Like he's probably the best salesman there. He just like doesn't want to, right? Like
yeah,
why would he
yeah.
want to do it? Like
That is me. I am good, but also don't want to do
you know
it.
what I mean? Like it's fine, but like I mean he's probably better than Stanley Hudson. Honestly, doesn't Stanley Hudson just like constantly like cheat on his wife and stuff? But
Oh
um
yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, role in the universe. Mr. Green believes that everything, war, politics, even hope, boils down to incentives. Systems can't be
Mm.
trusted, but they can be gamed. And if you're clever enough, you don't have to break the rules. Just be the only one who understands them. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and it kind of goes with the like sharp as he can be within the constraints of his job, right?
Yeah, right. It's
Mm.
like he
Yeah,
just can't. He like at first he just can't see outside. He's like, no, don't you understand? I'm playing the game the best. It's like, yeah, but like it's a game, homie. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think
But
that's
this
part of
is
the journey with Captain is like you're like, none of this matters. Only this matters. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I feel like this is what's interesting as well in terms of the role of the universe section with relationship to the captain or to Cheyenne or to the nephews or to any other characters that we develop
or to
is
Cheyenne. Just curious. Just kidding. Buddy.
Hey,
no,
Cheyenne and
because
Mr. Green are business partners.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
but no,
for-profit orphanage.
that is
These monsters.
sickening. No, I mean, but
if it don't make dollars, it don't make
Where would the
sense.
kids go? And
Sorry,
what are we
Ryan.
going to not be compensated for our time?
well, no, but I think that I can't remember. I was talking with my sister or my friend about this, whatever, and how I described the various characters was that the captain, like in terms of their relationship to like the revolution of it all, like the eventually they all bring down the corporation, or maybe they all meet up in some weird way that think the corporation is bad. But I imagine that like Mr. Green's version of getting everything he wants, right? Like what is that? And what is Cheyenne's version of that? What's the captain's version of it? We already talked about Cheyenne. So like what is Mr. Green's version of getting everything he wants? And I have an idea, but I will leave it as an open-ended question for the time being.
I think. Well, I
Everything
think.
he wants is just like to not worry, right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the
Mm,
worry. It's like even though like he could, let's say he makes a lot of money and he could spend that on himself, like he's not going to, because
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
he's gonna be like saving for a rainy day. He's gonna be putting his money to work, and then he's also buying all these things for his children. So like his end goal is just it's never enough. And I think the end goal
Mm-hmm.
for him is to feel as though it is enough. But
Mm-hmm.
the only way he can do that is probably through bankrolling your for-profit or orphanages, expanding that over time, and also, I think in the end he realizes that like it's not about like being secure and having like the most security. It's about him realizing like living in the moment means more than anything else for like his job, his life, his friends, like for everything, right? His kids. So I don't know. That's such a broad question, but that's
He
generally
has
how
to
it is,
learn
man.
the lesson that John Candy teaches in Cool Runnings.
Yes, yes,
If you're not good enough without it, you'll never be good enough with it. Like there's not the thing is Mr. Green doesn't want anything. He has his wife and his kids. He wants like not this job, right? But like
yeah,
doing a better job at this job's not going to get him a different job.
yeah, exactly.
Well, but I think that that's also interesting in relation. I keep saying in relation to, but like in my mind's eye, that's an interesting character motivation to have based on the revolution of it all. Because I think how I thought about it was like the captain thinks that the company needs to be overthrown for the revolution, and that's like kind of the correct answer, etc. But Cheyenne would think that like, oh, I just need to be the president of this org,
Hmm.
and I it will like make the change that is the revolution. But that happens, or it happens in some capacity, and it doesn't actually work. She's like, oh fuck this, like because I'm constrained by the role of whatever that leadership position that she has is
Let me
in whatever way. And in my mind's eye, with Mr. Green, like in this early iterating stage, I feel like Mr. Green's like relationship to the revolution would be he's thinking like if I have enough shares in this company, I can have a seat at the board
Hmm.
and make it home to my kids. And like that would be enough. Is like that he because I think that he has to have some kind of dissatisfaction with the system that builds over
Yeah, okay,
the
I would agree with
seasons,
that. I see where you're going with that, and I think that yes, like
as a
I
foil,
think
you
I
know.
think like when we're in, when we're back at dispatch and stuff, it's I'm when we're back at dispatch, like Mr. Green like puts on his face fake mask and he's going around and like
Mhm.
trying to either get intel or trying to like show that we're doing a good job and shit like that to the higher ups to try to like move up. Um
Hmm.
I could
Well,
see
because
I
there's
could
like,
see that, and like I agree his end goal is just like, I'm all down for Captain's game. We're gonna
mhm.
do it his way, but that doesn't mean I still can't try to like get a board seat or be a VP, like try to get a
Yeah,
promotion. Yeah, like I agree with
yeah,
that.
and I think that
He would
like,
be playing both
like,
sides for sure.
well, also because he's so into like the money as like an aspect of it. I think that money is a stand-in for a lot of stuff, as you already said, in the real world and in this like economy of nothing world, where it's like if he wants security, like he wants his version of getting everything he wants. He wants to not worry, but like, what does not worrying equate to? Because in this world it would equate to, I mean in our world too, like, oh, I want my kids and my wife and my house to be there, and like
Yeah,
to not have any financial
Brian, it's the
constraints.
same reason why I had just
Anakin
haven't left my
Skywalker.
job and started this full time with Mike Badone. It's because
Mhm,
like
mhm, mhm.
it's one, I know it'll be successful, but I still need to get freaking paid. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I have fucking bills, you know? So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
but if I, like if we came across this all like earlier in life, I wouldn't have my kids to know that this would be the character. So it's kind of like a
Mhm,
double-edged sword.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that like like Mr. Green is like he always wants to max out his like the money that he's making on these jobs because maybe he also I thought of this randomly, I don't know what y'all think about. But like he's also has like some side deal with the company where he's getting paid in like shares or there's like shares that he's accumulating or maybe they give out shares as bonuses so that he kind of has like a more in like he has a higher and higher investment in the company itself so that he's not trying to like oversee. He's not trying to be a manager. He's trying to be like the boss in that way. But like through the financial investment, he wants to be like on the board of directors.
I think he
That was
just
kind of
wants,
my like
dude, he just
trajectory.
he again, it goes back to if there's a system he can outgame, he's gonna try and do it. You know
And
what I mean?
I think like a thing to add here, and not to reference Star Wars again, but like I do like, but to like, if you think Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, but like now supplanted to Cheyenne, right? Of like, Cheyenne thinks that like the Nothing Corporation is like doing good work, and by being the best Nothing Corporation person, she'll go up to the top of the Nothing Corporation and do better work as the head of the Nothing Corporation and stuff, right? Whereas like Mr. Green thinks that as like a Nothing Corporation employee, like he can do good stuff or whatever, but like it's not about the Nothing Corporation to him, right? So like, but because it's not about the Nothing Corporation to him, that's what like can lead him in my mind to like then becoming the evil head, an even eviler head of the Nothing Corporation, right? Because
Yeah, and
like
I found that to be true. It works. It really like the less you care, the more power you start to wield. I don't know why. Like at a certain point, like once you prove yourself enough, then you care less, and then that all of a sudden you start feeling like your opinion is more valid to people once you prove yourself a couple times, and then you actually have to do less.
there's a version of Mr. Green who's like what motivation is looking for motivation or whatever, we've said before, but like
Yeah.
him trying to find something the uh outside of like physical stuff,
Yeah,
right?
because like
Like what
I think the thing
but
is like think about like Mr. Green is going to get multiple promotions throughout like this whole show, and it's never enough, right? Like it's like, and even though he's like
his
going
whole
up, it's like, man, I
thing,
got more money. I'm also making more money with the captain, but then I'm like, but I'm bored. I'm
it's
not.
the
Mhm.
worry, like
He
the
like, and then he
worries the
figures
worries
out
the
what it is.
economy of
Yeah.
nothing trap, right? You take it out of the show for a minute or something, right? The problem is, as long as Mr. Green is trying to like make sure he's like not worried, it'll never happen, right? Because he'll just get a bigger house and there'll be more rooms to worry about, right? Like there's no
Yeah.
end to it, right? So like in that worry is like the fear, right? That's the problem, right? The worry is what
Yeah.
keeps him a cog. He's worried about what happens if he stops being a cog, right? It like is
Yeah,
the
that's a
actual
great way
fear
to
he
describe
has.
it.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
it's like
then
how
my
free you could feel when you're not the cop, but you've been a
but
cop for
then
so
It's
long.
like almost too scary, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he like
but then
he frees himself from the structure, but like what if what you're trying to do is free yourself from the structure, you're still defined by the structure, right? And then once you're free, what are you defining yourself by, right? If you haven't defined yourself first,
but I feel like that is
you
a
have
bit
to
of a
turn back
jump
around and try and rebuild
narratively.
the structure around yourself or something, right? Like,
Well, first of all, I
first
have
of
to bring
all,
up one of the greatest.
protagonist.
First of all, an hour and a half in, I have to bring up one of the greatest cartoon slash quasi anime things of all time, Castlevania on Netflix, because this happens with
Castlevania,
Alucard. This happens with Alucard. I think about this all the time,
the
literally.
Star Wars
It happens with
version.
Alucard, who is the son of Dracula, and he bemoans the fact that his mother, spoiler alert, she dies in the first 5 seconds of the show, that his mother always wanted him to define himself outside of his father, Dracula, but he names himself Alucard. Or he goes by the name Alucard, which is just Dracula backwards. So by like trying to like negate his father. He is just being his father in reverse. So it's exactly what you're saying. You're like, even if you're oppositional to the system, you're still in relationship to it. You're orbiting around the thing. Like the thing that everyone in this universe orbits around is the economy of nothing. So like even in rebellion, you're still defined by it. I think that that's really compelling. But when is enough for Mr. Green? And if enough is never enough, what makes him realize enough is never enough? We don't need to answer that this second, but I think like giving in my mind, giving Mr. Green everything he wants and then being like this is not correct is the turning point for revolution or like for rejecting the company. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
what would enough be? Or
Enough,
when
enough
does
would
he
be
get what
like,
he
holy
has?
shit, I don't have to do any of this, and I can just go home for dinner.
right?
Mhm.
And then he's
Mhm.
stuck where the captain was, right?
Yep.
Like
And then it's
there's a
where
thing
then you run to the captain.
we will
Where
not get into it
the
right
whole
now
point of
because
this show is the
we're
whole
dangerously
road
close to stepping
full
on stuff that
circle.
is like going forward story things, which I think we should talk about the guide, but that's what we can stay on the Codex pages. But uh uh but I
But
lost
I just think that's it's pertaining in my mind to the role in the universe because
no, no, sorry,
along
sorry.
with the
I lost it
codex
all. I
there's
got
like
it
a
back.
role
One
in the
second. I
universe.
want them to
Yeah.
be in different places at the end of season one. I want the three of them, if they're the three main characters, and like I would like a shift to be in place. I think would be cool in a way of like that. Mr. Green is now sitting where the captain was in retirement, right? And he has to like how could Mr. Green have no worries, right? How is that possible, right?
Hmm.
Like
Well, I think it's mostly related to his finances,
but
just
like
based
not
on
if
the
he's the
character we've discussed so
CEO
far.
of the Nothing Corporation. He's worried about his finance. He has to be full of shit, or the economy's
No,
even
no,
more
no, no.
broken than we've planned it out to be. If the CEO of
No.
the Nothing Corporation is actually, if Jeff Bezos is actually worried about money, we're really fucked, and not just fake fucked like we are now, right?
Well, what I will say is that I think that rich people always have a feeling of precarity that's false. They like have this feeling of escalating like
It sounds like he's one of the
instability
villains
in
of
their
my
own
story.
lives. Well, no, no, no. But there's like an interesting. People talked about this with Roger Ailes. He was like the former head of Fox News, and there's this really interesting story where he went to a diner, or not a diner. He went to the like a fancy 5-star posh restaurant in New York City, and every night they had the center table of this restaurant reserved for him. And he sat down with the journalist, whoever like told this story in a podcast that I listened to, and they were like, he like Roger Ailes felt like people weren't respecting him in this moment, and they're like, we're in your restaurant, like in whatever like tower this restaurant has the center table reserved for you, but you feel like you don't have respect. So there's like a constant, I think, like Mr. Green, to me, when I say like it's financial, I think that like he might have all the money in the world essentially by the end of it. Like his kids are like, "Thanks, Dad, another planet you bought us," and it's like,
Yeah.
but what does that matter? And that's like what has to be the turning point where it's like this does not matter. And that's what I mean in relation to like when is enough enough? Like when do you realize enough is not enough? And like the thing that you want is not more money. You want to not worry about your kids.
I think, and I think that what it comes down to is like, this is why Mr. Green has like trinkets, because it's
Mm-hmm.
not like he's all of a sudden just like, I have a revelation, not in
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah, yeah.
episode, right? No, it's like
Mm-hmm.
he comes to the conclusion over time because it's a slow growth with money, right? And then like that's why
Mm-hmm.
he ends up having like a Tamagotchi pet named like Scrappy or whatever, and it runs
Mm-hmm.
amok, right? Because that's what he has. That's why he has a whip. Like he's always
Mm-hmm.
cycling out new accessories because he
Mm-hmm.
thinks that the consumeristic part of him from like
Mm.
what like getting what's the word, a load, like picking up a load or salvage job or something, like that's why he likes it, because it's like the potential to
Sick.
find some like really cool stuff that might be valuable but also fun. And then they're always short-lived, or they always like I like the AI run amok episode because it's like how him believing it, like that consuming goods and like buying things and finding things are going to make him happier, but then it
Mm-hmm.
turns on him completely. Like, so it's like he learns
Mm-hmm.
something as he goes, right? Like, and I think at the
Mm-hmm.
end, when it's
Mm-hmm.
enough, is like when he literally like can't think of what else he could want to do,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
but I think like
yeah,
that, and also I think that's exactly like I think that that's great. And my question narratively, which maybe is getting beyond the scope of what we want to talk about, is that like how does that moment like turn into like the revolution or whatever you want to call it? You know what I mean? Like because I think all of the building blocks are there, and maybe this is just like what
yeah,
does the first
but
episode of season 2 look
but
like or something that I'm asking. So
Ryan, we're talking about a seasons a long TV show. Like, we don't need to know what it is right now because I'm still living it, bro. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. The point is, like, I don't need an ending for
asking the
something.
questions is important though, right? Like
Yeah,
part of
I
like the
get
whole thing
that.
of like doing all this is thinking like seasons and seasons. Like what is gonna one of the things that'll make this stand out to other stuff is like back in the day when TV was better than it is now. Sorry if someone disagrees with me. But like
Andor season 2 is coming out as we fucking speak, so that's
That's
gonna be
such
the
a
most
cheap.
goated
That's
television.
so cheap, and I want you
right.
to know that's how they want you to feel
They
because they
release
fucking starved
27
you.
shows a day and you can name one in the past year. Anyway, the but my
Which economy, if nothing, are we in? Whoa.
I mean in the distant future they will. But like
Mm-hmm,
my
mm-hmm.
point is being like even your favorite shows, there's stuff where it's like, oh, there's like continuity stuff that's like, oh, it would have been cool if they had introduced that character earlier or something, right? But like a lot of shows that you were like actually had to like make stuff up real quick, like so they didn't have that chance. And then the stuff that they do now,
Mm-hmm.
where they have all this time and energy, and people want it all out and quick, and they could have time to do it. They don't care. They're just shitting it out. They don't give a fuck, right? So we're trying to do like an amalgam of both things, where it's like we're trying to do this as fast as we can, but like since we can't just edit all of this right now because it's just the three of us and I'm the only one that knows how to do it. It's important to
Right.
like be asking these questions. So when we're thinking about stuff later, we've thought like it's that's why everything's is a codex entry. Everything I'm writing it all down
Yeah, but
because at some
Ryan's
point
literally
it
asking you
pops
like the
back up,
fucking
you
secret
know?
to life. Like, when is it enough for a person? Who the fuck knows that? Death? Like what? Who? Like,
But it's something
come
that
on.
Well,
the
but I
Enemy
just
of Nothing show has to answer. We need to answer this question. I have answers. I have answers for the captain. I have answers for myself. I don't know if I have the answers for your characters or anyone else in the world, right?
Also, I'm not
But
the main character to have answers, all right? Like, honestly, it could just be fun, the fact that it's never enough for Green the entire time.
yeah,
That could just be
mm-hmm.
fun.
and also
It doesn't have,
Well,
yeah.
we don't
and
have
I think that that
ownership
could be the
of these
case.
characters like that either, right? Like it's one of those things where like, and I think we mostly agree, right? Like there's a fun way where Mr. Green goes evil, and there's a fun way where Mr. Green like takes charge, right? Like there are fun
Yeah.
ways for
He's
this to go. Like it's as they start making choices and we start thinking about who the characters are and going like what do you want this to be and then what do we want this to be and what do the characters want it to be and having like these discussions anyway I don't know, I'm just having a good time
I think in
anyway.
general too, Mr. Green, as somebody who has, man, I don't want to say this now because you got RFK Jr. like getting all this database on people and shit, but like ADD, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you do bounce around a lot, and things are like the best thing you're
Mm-hmm.
super
Mm-hmm.
focused on, or things are like the worst thing and you're super focused on. So the point of
Yeah.
Green is like that he is susceptible to wild swings. So it's almost like he's got a like borderline personality disorder, just a little bit, just like a touch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I
what
mean,
like yeah.
in my interpretation of this as well, and I always couch these things just in case I need to take it all back. But I think that like Mr. Green to me could always want enough, like enough is never enough, and it's completely possible that he just joins the Captain's Revolution because they're friends. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like
mean,
he's like fuck it, or like maybe his wife is just like I'm sick of this company.
To be
And
clear,
he's like, okay, fine, I'll burn it to the fucking ground. Like, I
there's
don't know.
no
And I think,
episode
like,
in season one where the captain creates a revolution.
well, I obviously, right? But I think also, like, if the
obviously.
captain. But, like, the point of the foil could also be, like, in my version of Cheyenne doing this, just to talk about, like, the possibilities. Like, the captain could be like, I'm gonna overthrow the company, and Cheyenne's like, fuck you, I'm gonna overthrow the company even harder than you because I'm better than you. You think you know how to like do a revolution? I'll do the revolution. Like, I think that these characters could go a myriad of ways, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to constrain us right now in any one box, but
That's
I think
fair.
like it's their own arcs to me of like the character, like the character of Cheyenne that is like super hardcore into the corp, and then like somehow discover, like if they like destroy her orphanage planet, like that is a moment that would cause her to turn against the company. Or the captain in a fun loving way could be like, I'm gonna overthrow the company, and she has this competition with him. Maybe that's what does it. But like those two people kind of like, if that's the end of season 1 for Cheyenne, then we have to like get her there. And like blowing up her orphanage is different than like just really being super hyper competitive with the captain, and just like her being like, actually I will be the savior of the universe, and if I think that that's what you're doing, I'm going to be the savior better. You know, like, and that's in my mind's eye, at least when I think of Cheyenne, I'm sort of like, there's like a multiverse spreading out before us, and we need to think about which way we want to progress the characters.
Like
you
there
know?
is a multiverse heading out before us, and this is the economy of nothing matrix, which I can't explain to anyone, and I will one day, about not limiting your possibilities and making choices
I'm being
that
taunted.
matter. But I know, Mike, you got to stop whatever these hand gestures on this audio podcast.
He's throwing up gang signs.
That's
like a
Wu-Tang
butterfly.
But if you
Butterfly
bring back to
effect.
the production idea and the way we're talking about this, and this will seem like a rude way, and I'm being like dismissive of you guys, but it's like being a generalizer for the purpose of explaining stuff, right? Of like, if you think about like you guys as the characters' motivations in the podcast or whatever, and you root it down to the idea of Ryan being like, this is a book on how you write movies, right? And Mike Allen going, man, we can just do this all real quick. It's cut corners, whatever, do whatever. And I'm like, you're both right and wrong, right? Like, no, we definitely don't have to do it like the book, but we can't cut corners, right? Do you know what I mean? And like that's like where the captain is sitting right here in this like on a place where they're sitting on
so it's basically us doing the show is the show, but
Yes.
disguised as like a science fiction, you know.
Mike has us in an experiment right now.
Yes,
This
it's
is
all a
fucked
bit
up.
Decode the cryptext, Ryan.
No. Okay, I have a whole thing about the captain and how we have to address him, but I know that we're like late into this. Do we need to discuss the quotes of Mr. Green?
Yes.
Because I do have final thoughts on the captain.
And I think,
or not final, but you know.
Yes, and one thing let's do
An hour
it.
in.
I have one thing to say before the captain, but Mike, let's see here your quotes. I like the way Cheyenne's went last time, so I just like them as a test thing. We'll probably kind of do the same thing.
All right, here. You don't need to lie if the truth is confusing enough. Sorry.
That is fucked up. I already read these, and that is a fucked up thing.
You don't need to lie if the truth is confusing enough. Being right too early is functionally identical to being wrong. I'm not greedy. I'm just correct. Budget cuts are the universe's way of asking if you really needed limbs. The algorithm likes me. I don't like it back.
Do you feel like that one is true? The algorithm, you don't like it back?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about any of those. Those are not. I did not write any of these lines. I have to let you know. The AI wrote all these lines.
Mike, that is so unhinged to tell us.
You guys won't read any of the lines I actually write. I didn't know anyone was
Says who?
No, but it is like these are based on the prompts from the 20 things that you sent me that one time. The 20 questions. These are like responses based on like the characters looking at like those ideas of what they would say in situations and stuff. But yeah,
I thought it delivered it pretty fucking well. So yeah,
I mean, a round of applause on Patreon.
I thought Mr. Green was on the phone.
I thought you were gonna go for like a robot voice, like the algorithm likes.
No,
me.
Mr. Green.
I don't
Mr.
like
Green
it
is
back.
Mr. Green is
Not a
Mr. Green's an
robot.
alien, and he's trying to blend in with a bunch of humans. Like he's gonna fucking have a white person like super radio voice, like that, but like kind of like with a dark, hard undertone.
I feel like you have a good radio voice.
All right,
Yeah,
so here is a final Mr. Green question. I
yeah.
have right now, anyway.
I'll write it
Face
down.
mask, no face mask.
That is
Face
so
mask.
trivial.
I think face mask, but I don't like. It's just the injury from the war. Is that cool?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that we also have to at some point maybe have an offline conversation as well about what Mr. Green knows about his own life. Because the deception of Mr. Green's life is like hugely pivotal to his character development.
Right.
No?
Yeah, but
Like, he's not the person he thinks he
specifics of
is.
it don't matter. The only thing that
Yeah, of
matters
course.
is that, like, at the end, like, there's a conflict and there's a break of trust between the captain and Mr. Green. They're working to fix
Absolutely.
it, and at the culmination of the moment, because drama, that's when he finds out, right? So we have until the end of season 3 to nail it down specifically, but we do need to have breadcrumbs, right? And there are questions about, like,
Yeah.
how much does his wife know, right? Because there are.
I think she knows everything.
wait, should I have a face mask? I don't know.
Yeah. God damn it.
Here's the thing. Originally, it was because I didn't know about mouth animations. I didn't know what I was going to do and stuff. Now it doesn't really matter, but I think it kind of looks cool. I don't know.
Oh, I like it if you like it.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
Yeah.
But my only thought is unless we want him to get it later, because there is a point where he halfway through the first season where he is going to get shot and hospitalized and all this kind of fake out deaths and stuff. So he could get it then.
He could always get like plastic surgery later if we needed to. No big
Okay.
deal.
I'm going to
Yeah,
continue to
I
draw
agree.
him with the thing on then.
Yeah.
I think it makes him look
I think
more
that makes
unique.
more sense.
Especially when you
Yeah.
see him standing next to Butterfly and you're like, uh-oh, 2 green guys with red eyes. They need a little more visual distinction.
Uh-huh.
I also like the fact that like my face looks kind of like a radio bar, like when I talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I envision. And it's like
Yeah, I mean,
he could literally
was
say anything in a radio voice sound, and like it could be like just it'd cut you deep, like fucking insults,
Yep.
and then
at
like
some point,
yeah,
we'll
it's
definitely
upbeat.
we'll definitely talk about like there's ideas we have, and that's part of the reason that I'm working on animating these out and working on different like eye movements and stuff just off the audio from the podcast, is because
Mm-hmm.
there's stuff that I'm thinking about with Mr. Green's mouth that like once we get there with the voice and stuff, there's visual stuff that's like I feel like it would be fun for the colors to change based on like his mood, like as opposed to like it being like heights or like when he's being quiet it's green and when it's high it's red, like a mood, it's like a mood ring, almost coloring like for his mouth kind of thing.
I do have
Yeah.
I do have one question about Green that I just need to flesh out for myself because I don't really know if
Would be
it
the place for
plays.
such a thing.
I think because he's half alien, half robot, but like,
Whoa. No.
is that still a secret?
Well, I'm not for anyone who's listened to this podcast. So not to anyone in the world that knows about the show right now. Right? Like to break kayfabe for a minute, right? Like
Break kayfabe. Well, if we're breaking kayfabe, he's not an alien at all.
is he not?
I thought he was just a robot.
The original pitch for Green was that he's an alien and
Yeah.
also a robot, and also he's been
Okay.
sent back in time to help the captain. I mean, this isn't the version of Green now. It's just it was so elaborate.
I think originally he is an
Uh-huh.
alien who, because of his injuries from the Robo-Human War, people would like
Yeah.
accuse him of being a robot, which of course he
Yeah.
didn't like because like he was a veteran. He fought the robots, and now you guys are being robot
You're
racist.
calling
to
me a
him, you know
robot.
what I mean?
I fucking killed the robots.
Yeah.
But I thought
And
that
then
he
we thought, well,
was
wouldn't it be
like,
funny if he was secretly a robot on top? And so he was mad that people thought he was a robot, but he's actually
Am I a
a robot.
cyborg? Can I like get down with other robots, or like can I use it to help me get through like secret
You have
rooms
to
and
know
shit?
first, right?
well, but that's the thing. Like, is your wife?
Or
are
do
your
I just have a
wife?
face mask that makes me look like a robot?
But are your wife and children not just like
My
program.
wife and kid are normal. Like they're just
Here's the
normal.
thing.
It's
Oh,
just
are they normal? They're like what, an alien? They're not robots. They're like aliens.
they'll just be
Or...
green, and then my wife will have
They
six
look. They
tits.
look like.
Yeah.
So based on what Mike
Yeah,
Allen has
six
told me
tits
and
for
what I
sure.
know of the universe, Ryan, I'm going to attempt to answer your question.
Okay, go ahead. I'm waiting.
Mr. Green has a wife and two kids, I guess we'll say for now. And
Okay.
he served with the captain in the war. He was injured. He's lost his memory, so he doesn't know what happened at the very end of the war, other than that the captain pulled him out. Okay.
Okay.
And now he's back and he has a wife after the war. The captain never met his wife, nor did Mr. Green mention his wife during the war. And so the captain just
Okay.
thinks it's odd that he didn't. You guys were married before, like just weird. All our time fighting the war, you didn't bring it up. I don't know, right? And I know another thing that's weird, but I can't connect these two things for you because then you'd know the other. But it's weird that your wife doesn't. I should. Does she know that you're? You know what? But I can't talk to her about it.
Mm. Well, I thought that the conclusion of the Robo-Human War was that the captain basically found the motherboard of all robots and flicked the switch or destroyed it or whatever. And I thought that that was stored within Mr. Green as some kind of cyborg and or robot. Thoughts? Not true.
So if this is all true, that is true, right? Like if it is not just like a thing like about racism and he learned something about robot niceness in the robo pits or whatever, right? If it's not that story, if it's more than that, then as of right now, it is that something happened and he got all of robot dumb downloaded into his brain. Does that make him part cyborg? Does that make him part robot? Was he part robot before? Oh, the captain just got to the future. The war was already going. He got like he doesn't know any of this stuff. He was just given an option of kill everyone or like save everyone, and he saved everyone because it seemed like the right thing to do. And they were like, "Don't tell anyone." So he hasn't told anyone.
Well, but I feel like there's some kind of like Star Wars-esque hole where like there's a showdown between Vader and Luke. It's like that kind of cavern, you know, like a mechanical cavern built in a ship that like Mr. Green and the captain found themselves there on like opposing sides. In this was my interpretation, was that like they found themselves on opposing sides and the captain was like, the entire human army is about to destroy this planet or whatever. And like, I'm going to, that like statue of me dragging you out as a comrade was actually like, I was saving the enemy who is like stored in some capacity, like the emotional or the whatever core of robot, like motherboardness was like stored and saved in Mr. Green.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking was happening.
That is true, except for Mr. Green was fighting on the human side because he's secretly a Terminator. Okay, so what you need to remember is that the robot part that he's got, like that's separate from the fact that he's a Terminator, I believe.
Fucking hell. So he was a robot that was on the human side?
Yeah, but he didn't know because he was a Terminator. Or if he did know he was a Terminator, he was a Terminator that was supposed to help. Like he's a Terminator 2 Terminator. You know what I mean?
Well, but here, but but isn't Mr. Green like? Isn't he like? If he didn't have his memory wiped, wouldn't he be messed up that the captain like eradicated his species? The captain like genocided the robots, low key. Well, but like that's what all the humans think.
That's what all the humans think.
But really, like Mr. Green is proof positive that like the captain actually saved this species.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
But Mr. Green doesn't know that.
That's cool.
No, Mr. Green doesn't know that. But like again,
Mike says, I don't give a fuck.
Like what I'm saying is like, isn't that enough for now, guys? For where we're at,
it can be enough.
Since we don't have the first part of like the first episode, that feels like a lot of backstory, everybody. Like
I think we're good on Mr. Green. All right.
It's a lot of
literally
backstory.
Pick any other topic. What do you want to talk about? And like we've been talking a while, so like do you want to talk about
We have been talking a while. Well
no,
I
will say this. I think that like what we can totally do is say that like this is the Mr. Green episode. So if there's
Yeah.
other stuff we kind of want to talk about, like
Mhm.
what a thing I do want to have out of this podcast is outcomes for next week to talk about. So like
Yeah.
I've done Cheyenne's page, and like I'll synthesize what we've talked about this episode into Green's page, and like if we're both good with that, by the time people have heard this episode, it will be that version of the page, so we can just move on, right?
Nice.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So when people
Mhm.
hear
Yeah, I
this
feel like you
episode,
just said
they'll
that a
be
lot
looking
quicker.
at next week's page, right? Because this doesn't come out till next Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
sure,
audience, I just want to
totally.
let you know I've hit the point where I'm getting tired, and I
Yeah.
do love my
As a
character, Mr.
father.
Green, but I am getting tired. So let's keep going. Keep it
And as
interesting.
a father.
And as a
No, I
father,
think
you should thank me for my service because I'm also a veteran. And
just like
you can
I
see
mean
Totally.
that's
me.
why that's where and just like you, Mr. Green, you don't get no respect for it. Anyway, the uh yeah, no, so I think no, I mean
Mhm.
that's some really good like I feel like I don't have any like particular question in my mind about Mr. Green. Like like to go for like we can talk about the episode guide Mr. Green wise now, right? Do you know what I mean? So I guess
Yeah.
next week is all of your Captain Tracy questions answered that I feel like
Oh
answering.
my God, Captain Tracy.
But we
How
don't
about
I
have
that?
to
have well, first of all, Captain Tracy
Captain
is the
Tracy's questions are
protagonist, as we
answered
all
by the
know.
story I'm telling.
God.
Christ on a
God. Can
stick.
you imagine a whole episode of just Mike Vidal talking? Kill me now.
I don't want
It's
to.
gonna be
It's not like
horrible.
that's what I'm saying. That's not an episode I want to listen to.
Yeah.
No, but what I do want to say is I feel like I actually figured out Captain Tracy when I was chatting with my friend Katie, who's also writing a book and going through her own
Hey,
protagonist
real quick,
journey.
do you just like talk about your characters with other people?
Yep.
That's so
Mhm.
brave, dude. Honestly,
I
like
called her
I'm
earlier and I
so afraid
said,
to do that. Like
literally,
because
we
I
were
feel like
on
people are
we
just like, nah, I don't want to do
she was putting for the record as a mother from her perspective, she was putting her twins to bed for their nap, and I was like texting her about Captain Tracy and the protagonist question, and she was like, hold on, I need to put Declan to sleep, and then I can text you back my response. And I was like, honestly, just call. We talked for an hour and 13 minutes, and what we for the first part we talked about Captain Tracy, and then for the second part, and she explained how I was completely correct in everything I said last episode, of course.
I'm sure
and
that's how
then
it went.
and then we talked about her own book, but I think that my opinion of Captain Tracy is basically, I think I'm gonna have already mentioned this to Mike when we were chatting last week as well, is that I think that like Captain Tracy's character flaw, for the record, which I would like us to think about for the next week, is that he thinks that he knows what's right. That's what I've realized through all these conversations,
Okay.
and through literally the podcast conversation, and through the conversation, like it's both meta and not meta.
Yeah, Ryan,
Is
the
that
difference is like I'm not gonna fight that battle. Like, let him be right. Because that's what Mr. Green would do, Ryan. So
no?
yeah, you're
So
living up to your Cheyenne character.
okay,
So
so
you
so
just
the
figured out what the
captain
show is, everyone.
The captain thinks that he's correct, but I think the arc that he goes on is like he's like always morally correct, and that's like narratively structured. But what happens at the end is that the captain is not correct. The captain just thinks that he knows what's best at every point. And like the story of his nephews and of Mr. Green and of Cheyenne and of the corporation, like everyone kind of like can have a turn against the captain when he thinks of them as only a means to an end, that because like he knows best, because he's the
Yeah.
savior of the universe, quote unquote, and like he already did this. So with the dragon egg, with Brenner 7, with every situation that like everyone in this show comes across, they're like, Mr. Green's like, well, I have a perspective. I have something to say. The nephews are like, well, like, what about this? What about that?
Let's
Every
not
other
get into the
person.
nephews tonight, though.
Okay, we're not going to, but I think that like the captain is like, no, I'm correct, and I'm doing quote unquote
Yeah,
what's morally right, and then
morally right.
there's kind of like a like an egotism to the captain of always thinking that he knows what's right.
Yeah.
And even in the cases where he is, literally, and even in the cases where he is, like the journey that he goes on, like his mistaken belief, quote unquote, would be that like he's always right. But he's not always right, because even if you are right, as like Alan can tell us,
you're
dealing with a
Just
wife,
tuck it in it, wrap it up, put a bow on it.
even if you're right, you're wrong. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Ryan, I thought that was well put. I just think that, Ryan, where are you going?
Yes, what? I'm
No,
here. I'm
don't,
just
don't,
kidding.
You left too early last time and it fucked up my recording. Don't.
I'm just making a joke. Chill.
Well, what I was going to say is the captain would understand why Cheyenne would think that way. You know what I mean? Like, because of her ego and stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. I think our viewers know which side of this is correct. So I'm going to just I'll let the audience decide.
I'm a little torn. I don't know. After all that, I don't know, bro. That was a lot, dude.
We can hash it out. We can hash it out in the captain episode.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, seriously. I'll just literally just listen the whole time.
No, well, like what I'm saying is, if it's the captain episode, then the captain's going to tell you about what he did in the first season of the show.
Yeah.
The first season or the like season 0?
No, he's going to tell you about the first season of the show. He'll probably just read it off a website.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Well, as always, thank you, Ryan, for joining us and giving us all the words we needed to hear. Mike Allen, thank you so much for keeping us on that 20-minute clock you set up at the beginning of the show. All right. And thank you, everyone, for listening. EconomyOfNothing.com, Patreon.com/EconomyOfNothing, YouTube.com. Google Economy of Nothing in the YouTube tab. Whatever, everybody. Talk to you later.
Patreon.com. We broke. Help.
This isn't about me. No, it's not my name. It's about the Rangers, showing them the game. Out there's a whole lot of nonsense hurdling their way, and if I don't call it out, who will today? They gotta see, they gotta know. The corporate cosmos runs the show. To check, comply, stay in line. But not on my watch, not this time. The stars ain't coming, no, they're not. No cosmic saviors, just burning spots. The stars ain't coming, no shining knights. Just big balls of gas in eternal night. Saw a slogan on a freighter, smug and fine. Proud to live in the future, 56,009. Pride, for what? For dodging death. For holding on to your final breath. No pride should be earned, create, achieve. Carry yourself with the truths you believe. Not some roll of the dice or a cosmic scheme, but building the world or the dream. The stars ain't coming, they don't give a damn about your leaders or your grand time plan. The stars ain't coming, no favors from space. Just ancient fireballs, cold and base. Listen, Greenie, the stars didn't care back then. Not for the Roman Empire or humanity's first pen. They didn't flinch when we monetized air or charged for water, housing, or care. Everyone's looking to the stars for hope, while leaders pick your pocket. How do you cope? They're praying to balls of collapsing gas, hoping no one notices their own morass. The stars ain't coming, no guiding light. They're burning, collapsing, exploding in fight. The stars ain't coming, no savior divine. It's up to us, it's your time and mine. The stars can't save us, but here's the plan. We can do what they can't. We're flesh and man, not burning, not shining, but standing tall. We can act, create, and give it our all. The stars ain't coming, let's be clear, but we're the ones who are truly here. The stars ain't coming, but we're alive, so let's do something, anything.